Hello everybody and welcome to another episode of Minecraft Cribs. I'm your host Ard and oh no. Okay, so I finally got started on my remodel thanks to the greenhouses back there, but obviously I haven't completed it yet. The building wand does make this a bit easier to work with, but there are a couple problems. One of which being these stairs right here, which are sun metal stairs, which look like they're mostly made as normal, correct? Except these are blocks, and these blocks are made from ingots, 4 of each to make a block. And these ingots are made from blend, which are made from a piece of soul sand and a gold nugget for 2. It takes quite a lot of soul sand, and I haven't found a soul sand biome in my nether. I went looking for what I swear was a couple of hours, and I was just digging up in beaches off the lava or in these weird trenches inside some of the biomes. I couldn't find just a large source of it. So I've got a good chunk of this coated, but I am nowhere near done. But we've made some progress, and I've actually settled on a look that I'm pretty happy with. Although there's a bunch of just random stuff lying around, and I still don't have my inventory system. That's what that staircase down into nothing is right now, because I'm not quite ready to move yet, but we're getting there. And on that note, folks, welcome back to another episode of Statech Industry, where I can't even do my opening monologue without being interrupted by an Enderman. But we're starting back here because, as you can see, I added quite a few machines as well as cleaned up this area, because in addition to the remodel, I also started automating a bunch of other things to get the ball rolling. Things that aren't overly important to the episode, but are important to progression. Because like I've got the projection chain done for the bronze drill heads for my quarries. And that involved a very, very, very large set of rabbit holes that would almost have been an episode itself, except I didn't want to put it into an episode because it's not that thrilling. But it does involve this machine right here and having to make it. Because this machine is the auto crafting table, which they mentioned next to the assembler as a means to craft things that you can't do with the assemblers, because there are some things you can't do, some things that are required to be able to do the bronze drills. That thing specifically being glass panes. But that also necessitated coming back down here to the steam area to add processing for cobblestone into gravel, gravel into sand, and sand into glass on top of these machines right here, since I don't have the electric version set up yet, which is all stuff that's nice to have that I just hadn't needed previously. I also finally added a pair of travel anchors so I can at least get to the other side of my base, although you notice it's not all the way in the corner here, and that's because it doesn't reach the other side from here. I have to go part of the way in. And this came with a not insignificant cost, because if we come over here and take a look at my steel, you can see that I've got about 100 right now. So hopefully with all the stuff I have pre-crafted already from the passive crafting, I should be okay to continue forward, which means we should move on to the actual topic for our current episode, which is finally getting into the electric blast furnace and making aluminium. But to do that, we need to make cupronickel. And while the recipe is talking about the coils here, we actually need to get into the process of making the nickel itself, which is going to be a bit of a rabbit hole because we have to start by making the cupronickel dust. Long term, we can do it with the alloy smelter by just tossing a copper ingot and a nickel ingot, which this is going to be a potential problem a little bit not too far down the line, because we only have the nickel we've been manually mining. Downstairs in our iron mine, there's thankfully a large supply of it. We have to manually go get it, so I just got whatever I've got in storage. There's no auto processing of it at all right now. The problem is, to make it, you need cupronickel wire. So that'll be one of the very first things we do, is make enough of it to be able to make this. But unfortunately, to make that, we also have to make the electric furnace, which also requires cupronickel wire. So we've got some tasks in front of us, so let me get started on that. Now, to be clear, that what we need to do is put the copper and the nickel dust inside a mixer to create this. And I'm just going to do this manually right here, where I currently don't have a mixer, but we'll solve that first. All right, got the first batch of dust, which becomes the first batch of ingots, which becomes the first batch of plates, which becomes the first batch of wire, which becomes the first batch of magnetized cupronickel wire, which gets us the electric furnace, which gets us the alloy smelter. And apparently I already had an electric furnace. That's eerie. Well, that was some hoops to jump through. Thankfully, it only took a couple minutes, but now I have to go automate the whole thing. But now I can at least start from the premise of having the alloy smelter. And honestly, this makes a bunch of other things easier if I really want to go around to fixing it, because now I can just jump straight to brass ingots as well and not mess around with the dust for that. And there's also refined iron, which I believe was gating some of the Tech Reborn stuff that I couldn't do previously, as well as Invar, which we will need soon. All right, mission accomplished. Got everything automated, as well as setting up a projection chain for Invar. The one thing that I haven't done is automate nickel, because I don't have it coming in automatically yet. Hopefully we'll be getting to the electric quarry soon so that we can actually mine it automatically. You know what? I originally wasn't going to automate the cupronickel coil, but I decided it was probably for the best, because it turns out that it's used in multiple multi-block structures, but that's pretty much all it's used for. But we're going to need a bunch of them. So I guess this is one more component we can just keep on hand, huh? And after a few minutes, we now have this one finished. So let's take a minute and gather all of our rewards, just in case we get something actually useful. And it sure looks like we didn't, although that's a pretty hefty barrel. But with that out of the way, we can now move on to aluminum processing. Aluminium. And to make it, we have to make an electric blast furnace to process bauxite dust. And thankfully the bauxite dust won't be another antimony situation, because there's already a pocket buried under my base down in my iron mine. The passage is over there, but I always just use the waste stone at this point. So hopefully this is enough to get me started on this until we can get it out of the quarry. But worst case, I haven't tapped out the mine yet. But at this point, the electric blast furnace is pretty easy, and I'm not going to automate it because we're not only going to need a handful of these probably. That's famous last words. I'm probably going to make like 20 of these. They do process a lot of liquids. And it is a multi-block structure pretty similar to the normal steam blast furnace, although it uses a whole bunch of these coils, as well as a bunch of these heat-proof machine casings that I got so excited about last episode when I got 4 of them for a reward. I should probably go automate this Invar gear since it'll be a little bit cheaper on the Invar. That part's at least not hard. All right, and here we go. We've got everything we need for the electric blast furnace made. And they're set up almost identically to the normal blast furnace, although I think I already mentioned that. Except the cupronickel coils go around the outside of it. You know, not on the edge like that. And there we go. It even color-coded the actual item hatches to match, although given that these are steel and this is an LV, it doesn't quite work. Now, unlike my blast furnaces downstairs, I'm going to hook these up properly using Tom Simple storage so that I can actually control how much comes into here, because I have almost no bauxite, and combining it into the blocks, which is the more reasonable way to make it, otherwise this makes nuggets, and it would take longer, and this takes a lot of power to do, means that it takes 9 pieces of bauxite just to make a single aluminum ingot. So this is going to be a tedious long process till I get bootstrapped into aluminum. But once we get up to the electric quarry here pretty soon, we'll actually just be able to mine the bauxite straight up. Unfortunately, there is no aluminum ore in this pack. All right, and now I've got it all set up to process the aluminum. I do have it buffering power through this LV storage unit just due to how much extra power this pulls, so I want to make sure that it's not pulling this the main grid when it's going, if there isn't enough to pull due to other machines. But man, this one is slow by comparison, although I think we can put in a speed to upgrade it, but it'll cost more power. Power that I can't spend because I think this maxes out at 32 right now. Because yeah, it takes 100 seconds to process a 1 bar of aluminum, which I think makes this a good stopping point for this week, sadly. I would like to do more, but we're going to be waiting on aluminum to be able to progress up through this tree, because we need 8 plates to be able to make the machine casing. We need to make all these electronic components as well as the electronic circuit to be able to make the advanced machine hall, which will bring us into our next tier. That said, however, this is getting us really close to getting into AE2, and I can hopefully stop using the Tom Simple storage stuff pretty much permanently, other than using a big block of chest as an interface for bulk storage until I can get to digital storage and fall off the ledge because I don't have any railing. I never claimed I was smart, folks. Although I suppose we should grab the last couple rewards here first, eh? And it gave us some aluminum. Although that was probably the reward for the aluminum tier. Also some diodes, which we will have to make shortly, so that's helpful. Anyhow, if you found this interesting and entertaining, please consider like or subscribe if you're new. As always, I'm Ard. Thank you for watching, and have a nice day.